again. So, I did a live set yesterday at the retreat in Brunswick, which was fucking ridiculous to be honest. Like, the gig was fine, but electronic music should never be played at the retreat. Anyway, so I used Analog 4, Octatrack, Roland System 1, M, which you can see right here. So I made a video before I went out to perform the gig of me performing the gig, but in my studio. I kind of foolishly ended up chopping my own head out of the video, but what are you going to do? So yeah, I made that video, and then I thought it would be really fun to just explain how I do my live sets, how I did that live set. So I did a series of videos, or just a couple of videos, in which I go through track by track of each. When I say track by track, I mean track by track as in out of the 4 tracks I played, but also track by track within those tracks. So I sort of mainly focus on the Octatrack because that's sort of the hub of the whole operation. So yeah, this is just me kind of introducing what I'm about to show you. But yeah, I go into a lot of detail about using scenes on the Octatrack, using different methods to get really fucked up sounds, because I do love my fucked up sounds. And yeah, I think it's actually kind of exhaustive, but I've tried to do it in a kind of just real casual way, like I'm just explaining it to a friend, which I guess I kind of am. So yeah, enjoy. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of these tracks that I did for a live set yesterday, which I filmed. I'm just going to sort of talk my way through what I've got on each of these tracks, what I've got on the MIDI tracks, how I made some of the samples, what I like to do with the crossfader and the scenes, just as sort of like a companion piece to the live set video that I recorded yesterday. So let's do it. So on track 1, I've got this sound. Actually, yep, there it is. And I made that sound using the Roland System 1 M, which is what I've named the sample. I don't know what I actually did to this one. I can't remember. It was a little while ago, but I think I just sort of recorded in a bunch of weird, fucked up noises using the little pitch buttony knob on the System 1 M, and then I just kind of chopped it up. Actually, let's have a look in here. So this is the sample I used, which sounds like this. Pretty cool, actually. So what I've done though is I've chopped it up to a bunch of samples, or slices I should say, heaps of them, and then I've just sort of randomly placed them across the timeline, and it's also going in across 48 steps rather than 64, so it's kind of I guess slightly polyrhythmic against everything else. But anyway, so that's that sound. I don't think I've actually done much to it beyond just chopping it up and placing it randomly across the timeline, but I have done heaps of stuff with it with the scenes. So if I press play again to this one, maybe a bit of a filtering on that one, and then so yeah, there's some cool stuff there. But there's another track. So this is track 2. What have I got on this one? Nothing. There's got to be something. There is something. What the hell? Or is it a neighbor? Oh, there's a neighbor. Of course there is. This is what happens when you don't work on tracks for a while, is that you just forget where things are. So anyway, so I guess that's the beat, or part of the beat. Or just, I don't know. So that sound, this one. Cool. Not really sure why I thought to sample that, but anyway, I think I turned it into something alright. So if I get out of here. But this sound is sort of like a segment, or not a segment, but like one part of a multi-layer sound. So if I go to this one, I'm pretty sure this one will be, or is it this one? Yeah, so, you know, it's part of the beat along with this. It's all just rhythmic stuff. But anyway, this is kind of my favorite part in a way of this track, is this particular sound here. I just really like the way that sounds, and I've got on this scene, I've got the compressor, yeah, there we go, going up. And I've also got the delay send and the feedback and stuff changing, so which is pretty rad, as I'm sure you can imagine. I just love fucking with the scenes. So all together, that sort of sounds like this. So, I think you can see why I love this fucking machine. So anyway, onto this track. As you heard, it's a kick drum. Nothing miraculous there. I think I just used a sample which came with the Octatrack, or at least it came with it when I bought it, because I bought it secondhand, and the guy who gave it to me, another musician in Melbourne, he he gave it to me with a sample compact flash card, which was like heaps of stuff on it. So I sort of use a lot of those sounds from time to time. So anyway, it sounds like this. But the reason it sounds like that is also because I got this heaps turned up, and then I've also got a compressor on it and some filtering as well. Like I've got a filter envelope acting on it. So I guess using the scenes, which is often something I like to do just to experiment, I can just show you what it would sound like without any of the effects by turning the filter, all of the filtering stuff off without actually damaging what I've made. Yeah, so now it should have no filtering, and I'll turn the compressor down, and it should have no compression when I go like this. So it's pretty piss weak, right? And then so like that's a pretty good demonstration, I think, of how fucking killer the compressor is on this motherfucker. It's so fucking awesome. Like I'm sure you can hear. And we can take that way further if we really want to, using the scenes again. I can just, I mean, come on. that's fucked up. So anyway, just clear that scene. That's that track. And then this track, what's this one? Is it literally nothing? I think we got to the end of it. Okay, so anyway, that's the first track in my set. I also have a MIDI track running just to the System 1M, which is out of shot because I felt like the Octatrack is where a lot of the interesting stuff happens when I play live. So I'll put the chromatic keyboard on. Oh no, my MIDI interface turned off. Give me 2 seconds. Okay. Cool, so that's not actually on the preset that I want, so I'll just change that. There we go. So that's the SH101 plug out synth playing. Oh god, so lush. I actually sold my 101 and replaced it with this, and I have 0 regrets. Listen to this shit. So fucking bassy. So fucking bassy. It's the raddest. So anyway, that's playing this. If I go, yeah, that's playing this. So nice, thick, juicy bass line, and it all together, we've got this. So that's cool. I've also actually got the Analog 4, which I will try and show by using the camera real gently. Just, it's over there, see? You can't see it very well, but it is also playing some stuff, so I'm going to turn all of this stuff off on the Octatrack. So what's playing now is just the Analog 4, and I mean, the Analog 4 does some sounds really exceptionally well, and this particular sound is an example of that. Go to the performance, is that one? No, okay. I go to the filter though, you can hear. It's a luscious machine. I mean, I really like that one as well, but weirdly, it's actually kind of in some ways it's my least favorite Elektron machine that I own, but it's still, like, you can't pass up sounds like that. It's so nice. I just think it's a little bit more limited than the other ones, but that's, you know, that's fine. It does what it does well. So anyway, I will move this back here, and I'll move on to the next track. So right now, I'm on this bank. This bank at the moment is just kind of a work in progress. I mean, this whole project, I should say, is just sort of like a live experiment project at the moment. So I'm on this bank. I'm on pattern 1. This is sort of the way I lay out my my Octatrack live sets at the moment. Is I have like only usually 4 sort of songs on one bank, because you can only have 4 parts, and even though you can do a lot of workarounds, it's just so much easier just to be like, nope, this is the limitation of the machine, this is the way I'm going to use it. So right now I'm on track 1, track 1, and I also like to keep these sort of blank spots between them so that I can, if I experiment with it and I make a new one, I can just sort of, you know, add it to the track, so I get like 4 patterns, kind of. It's my own system. But anyway, so I'll move on to track 2, and I will turn on things track by track again. So this is track 1 for track 2. Or does this have a neighbor as well? It has a neighbor. So, very nice kick drum again. This one actually haven't turned up at all, weirdly. But it sounds like this. Oh, I've got a lot of delay on it. So I've got a compressor. I've got some filtering on it. I've got some delay on it. And some more filtering. So, you know, it's being heavily processed. And I'm sure that comes across. Yeah, that's right. I've also got a scene here, which just amps up that awesome compressor. Oh, so good. So anyway, that's that first track. What's the next one? That's also no neighbor on that one. So this one is a... Yeah, I think I made this... I think I made this sound in the computer using a free FM synth. I believe it actually might be called Dext. But I just made this quick pattern, and then I thought, that sounds cool. I should put that in the Octatrack, which I did. Oh, my shit is so dusty. Anyway. So that's really nice sound, I think. I don't think I've got any scenes going on this one, but just as an example of things you can do with scenes, though, like, what I often like to do is just to move this fader across to here, keep my finger on that so I can edit the scene, and this is just a way for me when I'm playing live to do non-destructive editing on the fly. So right now I'm just... And of course, let's take it further, shall we? Let's go completely fucking insane and turn this all the way up. Let's chuck some LFOs on. Why the hell not? And let's put one of these on to re-trigger time, and one on just the pitch, and then we can be like, let's go over here and turn this right down. I mean, it's completely unrecognizable. I mean, none of this, I'm sure, is a surprise if anybody has ever used an Octatrack or seen any videos about them. Like, this is pretty common stuff, but like, I just love how fucking awesome it can be just using scenes. You can go so far with just scenes. Cat's hair, dust, this is terrible. How does anybody ever clean in these fucking knobs? Anyway, that's that track. I'm just going to put that back to a regular scene so it sounds back like that. I'll change to a new track. This track is... Oh, weirdly, I think I've actually used the same sample. Oh no, sorry, it was just... I'm an idiot. So, I don't know what... I think this is another sample that just came with the the compact flash card when I bought this. That's just a sound. It's cool though. I like it. So what have I got going here? Very little. There is some filtering on it. That's what's causing this sort of squelchy weirdness. But not much. A little bit of pitch. I've got this reverb, which I'm pretty sure is connected to a scene. Yeah, there we go. So if I go to that scene. Oh, God. That's some good stuff right there. That's all I'll say about that. Is there any more? I got another bass. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I mirrored the bass drum, so both of them together sound like that. Pretty fat. Obviously, I've got some weird shit on this scene as well. So, another bass drum, and I'm pretty sure that is everything that is on this track. Yep, it sure is. So everything to get, well, not everything, because this sound here should only come in a bit later, but generally, this is what the track is supposed to sound like. And like with the other track, I've also got a System 1M patch running on this, which I've got muted currently on the MIDI track, so I'm going to unmute that. So I think that's quite lovely, to be honest, but I'm also going to introduce this track, which sounds like this. Adds some extra chaos, you know, because I do love some chaos. I'm actually going to mute all of this, just so the bass line is going, and then... Oh, no, we're still on the other track, so... So on the top track... Oh god, I just gotta let it play for a little bit, it's really nice. Top track is this one, which I actually have. I've set up some. They're these kind of like scenes on the Analog 4, but they're on knobs instead. So with each of these knobs, you get like 5 different macros, which is really nice. It means you can dramatically change the sound on all the tracks, on just one of the tracks, just with like one turn of a knob. So on this one. Just thickening it up a little bit. It's a massive sound. I love it. So yeah, the A4. I'm sorry for bad mouthing it. It is a beautiful piece of hardware. Just sometimes can be difficult to squeeze out, you know, the perfect sounds from it. Other machines are a little bit more forgiving, I think. So I'll mute that, and I'm going to show you these 2 tracks in the middle. They're separate tracks, and they're doing slightly different things, but they're kind of one track. So together they sound like this. Well, when it comes in. There we go. So, you know, this is very much capable of pads, as I'm sure a lot of people know. Like the reverb on this is a pad on all on its own, to be honest. You can set that to infinite and it's just creamy. But yeah, like if I just mute one of them, it's like that sound, and then the other one. So very, very luscious. The last one is another one of these classic Analog 4 ARP sounds, which just does so well. Like, those envelopes are just so plucky. You get some really great plucks out of this thing. Plucks and really quick bass lines and stuff. Like, contrary to popular belief, this thing does pretty great bass lines. But again, you really have to kind of squeeze it out of it. It can be tricky, I think, to learn the nuances of it. And on this one, I've also got a knob controlling it. This one is it's a bipolar knob, so it goes both ways. Sweet spot is in the center. But on both track 1 and track 4, I've got some other effects. And I'll bring in track 4 again. I'll turn it down a bit. Turn them both down. And I'll bring in the FN. I've also got a sync sound on here. And a decay, so I can shorten that decay right down on both of them. And get those real chirpy noises, which I then like to be honest, I like to then do this. So that's basically this track. There's not a lot to it. I'm in the habit of making quite short tracks these days, just because, you know, it's like they're done and dusted in an hour, and then I don't ever have to like really think about them again. And they often turn out well. But anyway, I might stop the recording and start a new one, and I'll go on to the next tracks in the next one.